like and subscribe right now, or this spider will crawl on your face when you're sleeping. Over the past few years, scientists have found many things ranging from humans, animals, and artifacts frozen in ice. While some are creepy, others are exciting to watch. This video explores the top 10 unsettling things recently found frozen in ice. Number 1. The real Encino Man. While you visit parks to see wild animals, hang out with friends, or relax, tourists flock to Theodore Wirth Park in Golden Valley for one primary reason: to see the caveman. Treasure hunters are stunned at the sight of a man called Zug Zug trapped in ice. His presence has made the park more famous than it was a few years ago. Local artists initially created Zug Zug, a prop for an award ceremony. After displaying it for about 5 hours, the artist took it to his garage to stay idle for many years. He recalled that he was depressed whenever he looked out the window and saw it sitting there. He finally took it out so people could see it and have something to talk about. The aim was to have Zug Zug look like a big deal. To make this happen, he studied the physical characteristics of a Neanderthal and transformed a mannequin into an axe-holding caveman covered in 10 layers of epoxy resin. The result is incredible, and it's gained the desired attention. Number 2. Kermit on ice. While most animals die a few hours after exposure to ice, the wood frog is different. This animal can survive for several weeks on ice since it's used to the cold Arctic environment of Alaska. During freezing winter, these tiny amphibians stay still for several weeks, and you might mistake this for death. In most animals, prolonged exposure leads to cellular shrinkage, a process in which the formation of ice in the tissue pulls water from the body's cells and sucks them dry before killing the cell. Scientists wanted to understand how these amphibians survived frigid temperatures. They experimented with freezing and thawing 2 wood frogs in the lab to find out. They discovered that wood frogs have cryoprotectants in their bodies, like glucose and urea, that lowers freezing temperatures and reduces stress on the cells and tissues. Therefore, this adaptation allows them to survive a deep freeze. Number 3. 2 moose. 2 bull moose ended up locked in combat forever after they were frozen in ice for many years. 2 hikers found the animals encased in inches of ice in Unalakleet, Alaska, along the Bering Sea. It appears both animals got into a fight for a lady when the freezing happened. Scientists plan to remove them intact to create a lasting impression. They removed the moose from the ice in one piece and moved to clean them up. This finding is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. The moose was first found by Erickson's friend, Brad Webster, a science and social studies teacher, while touring the grounds of the Bible camp. Male moose are often aggressive towards each other during the fall mating season. There's also a good chance that both animals drowned in the freezing water and hardened. Bill Samuel, a retired biologist, affirmed that the irregular shape of this animal's antlers resulted in tangling that the animals couldn't escape. Therefore, when involved in a fight like this, neither of the parties emerges victorious. Number 4. The woolly rhino. Scientists have found the remarkably preserved carcass of an Ice Age woolly rhino in eastern Siberia. This ancient animal was revealed by melting permafrost in the Ibitsky region of Yakutia in northeastern Russia. The most shocking part of this finding is that its internal organs were intact and the best preserved in the area. Experts agreed to submit it to the laboratory for further investigations. They were waiting for ice roads to form to take it to Yakutsk, where samples would be taken for radiocarbon analysis. This rhino was believed to have lived in the late Pleistocene era, about 20 to 50,000 years ago. After examining the remains, scientists found that the rhino was 3 to 4 years old when it died by drowning. Most of its tissue, intestines, and genitals were still visible. A part of its nasal horn was preserved, but this is rare, given that it often decomposes after a few days. There were also traces on the horn, suggesting the animal actively used it for hunting for food. Researchers have recently found the remains of mammoths, foal, woolly, rhinos, and several puppies in Siberia. Number 5. Fox blocked. A German hunter has revealed a block of ice containing a fox. He said the animal fell into the chilly Danube and drowned. When the block was extracted from the ice, it was found to be housing an animal. Franz Stell, the man who found the unusual discovery, displayed it outside his family house. The town is on the upper reaches of the Danube. He confirmed that he had seen a frozen wild boar and deer before, but it's not easy for these animals to break through the frozen river. He said the fox would remain on display in front of his family house until it thaws. Since the animal spends so much time in ice, its fur can no longer be used. After this video was uploaded on the internet, Many quickly concluded that it was fake. However, further details from Stell convinced them otherwise. Number 6. A lighthouse in Michigan. The frozen lighthouse in Michigan was filmed by Joshua Nowicki, a man who took up some photography years ago and dedicated his life to taking atmospheric pictures. This picture shows huge imposing icicles dangling from the structure, making it look like a fairy tale palace. Built in 1859, this two-story lighthouse is exposed to the elements of the Great Lake. He was convinced the lighthouse would get a coat of ice from the crashing waves. Capturing the structure was a big deal for the photographer, who ventured out in a wetsuit to protect himself from the freezing weather. Getting out of the location wasn't easy, especially after ice built on it. The height at which the ice covers the lighthouse is a testament to the lake's power. No one can predict when these enormous chunks of ice will melt and fall off, but the sight is worthy. Although the weather makes for beautiful pictures, it results in dangerous conditions on the lake. 2 jet skiers nearly lost their lives after falling off their watercraft. Emergency responders found the skiers in the water, struggling to swim through the large, violent waves. Number 7. Luba, the baby mammoth. In 2017, researchers were stunned at the discovery of a baby cave lion. This finding is a reminder of the power of ice to preserve for centuries. So far, countless animal discoveries have been found frozen in ice, but Luba is the most famous of them. She's a woolly baby mammoth and a celebrity in the fossil world. She was born on a late spring day in Siberia about 42,000 years ago and spent the next few days of her life in the shadows of her larger mother. She fed on her mother's milk and also poop until an unfortunate incident submerged her under a deep mass of mud. This led to her death, as she couldn't survive it. The frosty mud contained the right combination of acid-forming bacteria and permafrost that allowed her body to become one of the best-preserved mammoth specimens in the world. She's been featured in many museums with thousands of tourists coming to see her. After safely taking her to the museum, scientists were able to examine her by exploring her DNA, internal organs, and even her last meal. Woolly mammoths are one of the most iconic animals of the Ice Age. They roamed Europe, Asia, and North America over 100,000 years before disappearing into extinction. Number 8. The Icy Pyramid. An Arctic mountain with a pyramid-like shape suddenly became the talk of the town after several theorists speculated that it was evidence of an ancient civilization. Some even suggested that aliens once occupied the area where it was discovered. Some scientists, however, disagree with these claims, saying that the steep pyramid-like sides are likely the work of hundreds of millions of years of erosion. A professor of Earth systems science also debunked the theories, stating it was a mountain that looked like a pyramid. Pyramid Mountain is one of the many peaks making up Antarctica's Ellsworth Mountains. The unnamed mountain is in the southern part of the Ellsworth Mountains in the Heritage Range. It measures only 4,150 feet or less, a little less than 1/5 of the height of Denali, the tallest mountain in North America. Although it's reported that this mountain was newly discovered, scientists say it's a research base for climate scientists. Number 9. Polynias. The Polynaya, or an area of open water, is the first ever observed north of Ellesmere Island. However, in a report published by the Geophysical Research Letters, Polynias may have opened in 1988 and 2004. The ice off the northern coast of Ellesmere is over 13 feet thick and has an average age of 5 years. A 2021 study shows that ice arcs connecting the stable sea ice to Greenland are forming and melting faster each year. Today, researchers say the last ice area may melt completely every summer by the end of the century. This would spell doom for animals that depend on sea ice for survival. The Polynaya is also another bad sign for the last ice. This phenomenon is a crack in the sea ice that opens during storms and when the wind moves the ice. In May 2020, there was a storm north of Ellesmere Island, and satellite imagery revealed a long, narrow crack. By May 15th, it grew to 62 miles long and 18.6 miles wide. On May 26th, the Polynaya closed. Researchers looked back at their database and discovered that a similar event happened in May 1988. But satellite imagery from that time wasn't sharp enough to capture it. More Polynayas are expected to open as the Arctic ice melts. Number 10. Frozen Ship. The Endurance, a lost vessel, was found 107 years after it sank in the waters of the Antarctic. The ship was crushed by sea ice and sank in 1915, forcing Sir Ernest Shackleton and his men to escape in small boats. Although it sat in 3 kilometers of water for over a century, it looks like it just went down, Although the timbers were disrupted, they were still together, earning the ship its name, Endurance. Archaeologists say it's the finest wooden shipwreck they've ever seen. They were amazed at the level of preservation. The project to find the lost ship was initiated by Falklands Maritime Heritage Trust using a South African icebreaker, Nautilus II, and other remotely operated submersibles. The mission leader claimed that the search was the world's most difficult shipwreck search because the team battled blizzards, shifting sea ice, and temperatures dropping to -18 degrees Celsius. Endurance was spotted in the Weddell Sea at a depth of 3,008 meters. The research team combed the area for over 2 weeks before uncovering the wreck. Until next time, adios.